Hello. On this channel, we'll be taking a simulated journey through history on my mod 6745BC on a giant Earth map, rise and fall style. This will be a world simulation, and in this series we'll start deep in the annals of prehistory, and I, the Fu Man, will be your host as we make our way through the eons of time and watch civilizations rise, fall, split off from one another, and form new civilizations. I'll be starting us off just a tad earlier than 6745 BC, and we'll check out what the Earth was like during the Ice Age. However, I'll leave a timestamp for those who want to jump straight into the gameplay. We can observe our little world as it evolves into its own and have thoughtful discussions in the comments section. Be warned, however, I am an advocate of free speech and will most likely not remove offensive comments. So, try not to offend, but try harder not to be offended. One more final notice before we start is that this is not supposed to be educational. It is meant to be fun. Now, with all that said, let's go ahead.
In the beginning, the earth was without form and void. But the sun shone upon the sleeping earth, and deep inside the brittle crust, massive forces waited to be unleashed. The seas parted and great continents were formed. Mountains arose, earthquakes spawned massive tidal waves. Volcanoes erupted and spewed forth fiery lava and charged the atmosphere with strange gases. Into this swirling maelstrom of fire and air and water, the first stirrings of life appeared. Tiny organisms, cells and amoeba, clinging to tiny sheltered habitats. But the seeds of life grew and strengthened and spread and diversified and prospered. And soon, every continent and climate teemed with life. And with life came instinct and specialization, natural selection, reptiles, dinosaurs, and mammals. And finally, there evolved a species known as man. And there appeared the first faint glimmers of intelligence. The fruits of intelligence were many: fire, tools and weapons, the hunt, farming, and the sharing of food, the family, the village, and the tribe. Now, it required but one more ingredient: a great leader, to unite the quarreling tribes, to harness the power of the land, to build a legacy that would stand the test of time, a civilization.
What we are looking at is what would later become the Europe that we know. Right now, though, this is a world that we would not recognize. And the year is 23,000 BC. The world is deep in the grips. Glacial maximum. The seas are more shallow, and there is more land above the water than our time. And global temperatures are 5 to 10 degrees lower. There is less evaporation of water, therefore, and less precipitation. And the world is a more arid, drier place. The deserts of the Middle East, Africa, Asia, and the Americas are more widespread and the land less arable. The climate is colder and tropical regions are smaller. There is a vast stretch of land here that doesn't exist in our current time, known as Dargaland. And you can see the Hebrides, Shetland Islands, and the rest of the British Isles are buried and locked away. The Mediterranean is isolated from the Atlantic and is much shallower and narrow. The Arabian Peninsula is hardly a peninsula at all. The entirety of the Middle East and North Africa is more barren, and its deserts are more widespread, and habitable zones are smaller. India is larger and joined together with Sri Lanka. Indonesia is one large landmass and joined with Asia. Australia is joined with New Guinea, and New Zealand is much larger. The ice sheets spread far and wide from both poles. The Caribbean Sea is much smaller, and almost all of Canada is buried. Fauna and megafauna at this time are unlike what we have today as well. Saber-toothed cats, cave bears, American lions, and packs of dire wolves, all larger than their modern-day counterparts and ready to snack on whatever prey they may find. Even the animals that are suitable for hunting are not to be taken lightly. Aurochs, towering mammoths, and woolly rhinoceros are just for starters. And woolly rhinoceros are just for starters. Homo sapiens at this time have outcompeted the other hominins for resources, hunting grounds, and living spaces, though they have a ways to go before reaching the top of the food chain. They still toil amongst the beasts for food, shelter, and warmth, and number no more than 5 million people. They are scattered across the world in little, isolated bands of hunter-gatherers. They live short, hard lives, and their contact and trade with one another was most likely seldom, sporadic, and at times, one can imagine, violent. The world is changing, however, and the peak of the glacial maximum is already behind us, and the glaciers are going to start their retreat now. The fresh water now begins to flow back into the ocean, and low-lying lands will start disappearing back beneath the waves. Now, I'm just going to get us a nice little view of Britain before we time slip. We're about halfway there now. It's been roughly 8,000 years since the first segment, and the climate is warming, glaciers are melting, temperate zones are expanding, and Doggerland is disappearing under the water. You will see at this time that Africa is much greener and wetter than we are used to. And for the reason behind this, I will read to you an excerpt from the Wikipedia. For several thousand years, the Sahara has alternated between desert and savanna grassland in a 20,000 year cycle caused by For several thousand years, the Sahara has alternated between desert and savanna grassland in a 20,000 year cycle caused by the precession of Earth's axis about 26,000 years as it rotates around the sun, which changes the location of the North African monsoon. The Black Sea and Caspian Sea are growing. Glaciers in Switzerland and Tibet are shrinking and melting. And now the desertification of Africa is beginning. As rainfall in the area decreases, the rivers and lakes shrink and dry up. Grasslands turn into plains, and plains turn to desert. We now prepare for one last, final great leap in time of many millennia. We've just jumped another 8,000 years. Sea levels, humidity, and temperatures are now almost on par with the world we know today. Vast swaths of land that were once buried are now free, but simultaneously, other swaths of land are now submerged in salt water, and the last of Doggerland is now swallowed up. Living amongst the lions, tigers, and saber-toothed bears. I don't know if there's such a thing as this. But the constant search for new hunting grounds, fresh figs to pluck, and new places to set their squirrel traps. The constant peril and pursuit of food and shelter begins to make a transgression. Small at first, towards a permanent settlement lifestyle. Okay, it's getting a touch too dry here, so we're gonna get out of Dodge, find some greener pastures. Maybe barbarians around here. I should keep that settler a little closer to. Yeah, these guys. Don't want anything to happen so early. Yeah, get back. Yeah, get over. Well, this spot has the tiniest little sheep I've ever seen. And they're frolicking about happily. We can eat these. become Jericho, to this day one of the oldest continuously inhabited locations in the world. And now I will share a quote with you from our Lord and Savior, the Wikipedia. Jericho is among the oldest cities in the world, and it is also the city with the oldest known defensive wall. Archaeologists have unearthed the remains of more than 20 successive settlements in Jericho, first of which dates back 11,000 years, almost to the very beginning of the Holocene epoch of the Earth's history. Copious springs in and around the city have attracted human habitation for thousands of years. Jericho is described in the Bible as the city of palm trees. Now, as the game's very first city building civ, our in-game strategy for the time being is to build more settlers, colonize the land that is known as the Fertile Crescent, home to the most numerous of early villages that would later develop into the world's first cities. I always get a kick out of their over-the-top grunts. Yeah, this is some fertile land we got here. We got wheat, tiny little sheep. In fact, they're about the size of that peckerel off to the left of the screen. And that's what I'm researching right now. I'm gonna learn how to build a boat, maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna learn how to build a boat. There's still some pesky tribals out here. Far off from tribals, so we got some mud huts set up on top of the hill. We're not all that high and mighty. Guard that hill. Jeez. Grunting like he's got a bad back. He makes that noise when he reaches down to tie his shoelaces. Okay, we're going to build a settler. This is going to take a lot of clicking. That's the downside of doing it like this. Gotta say. Takes a lot of patience and attention to detail. But I don't know how to do this for a little bit and I'll head out later. I don't know what I'm gonna. I don't want to hang out with. And I wasn't even planning on anything too crazy. I just wanted to go for a drink with Larry. But after some good laughs and a game of pool with these college kids, the night got out of hand. Started ordering more. Larry's a bit of a blabbermouth. Got us in trouble with some rough-looking dudes, and I tried to calm down the situation. And how the hell are we doing here anyway? Got that settler made yet? No. Anyways, Larry thought it would be funny to buy some kind of white powder off of them. I don't know, 20 of us ended up already wrong. When I woke up, he's covered in feathers. I'm in like some random motel in a foreign country without any clothes. I got no money, no ID, and I can't speak Spanish, and I'm too old for this shit. Oh, good. We're finished the settler. Anyway, that's why I don't hang out with Larry anymore. Let's settle this area here. I don't know what to call a city. Let's go with Akba. Akka, maybe? No. Akkad. Yeah, Akkad. Alright, let's go with Akkad. Yeah, mysticism. Yeah, alright, let's do mysticism. As you've no doubt noticed, I've been skipping time forward in some places as civilization, as you can see, it starts off on a bit of a slow burn. We're going to move some settlers down into Egypt. We're going to spread basically across this fertile land here. Fertile, they don't call it the Fertile Crescent for nothing, you know. Yeah, all this here is all the Fertile Crescent. The cradle of civilization. And we got some tiny little cows. Oh, you pick them up and run off with them. This guy, I'll move him over here in the next turn. And well, who the hell do we have here? curious. Who are these newcomers? Ah, Kish. The Kish? The Kishites? Or Kishis, if you will. Okay, with the settlement in the north of Mesopotamia and now in the south, I think that'll mark the beginning of what's called the Ubaid period, if I'm pronouncing that properly. This is when the earliest stages of urbanization that we know of, and on a grand scale, begin to take root. Settlements are going to start sprouting up now within the Fertile Crescent. This whole area that you see here on my map, that's all the Fertile Crescent. That is the area. This is where the first cities that we know of started forming. Workers still can't do none. Explore. Guard. Keep an eye on the Kishis. Money. Workboat. Production. Jeez. The fish are almost as big as the boat. Well, that's what we got. Ah, yes. Now we have another civilization. As more people begin giving up the nomadic life of foraging and stalking, hunting animals for food, they are starting to set up shop. We're going to start building irrigation canals, grow and farm wild grains, store them for rainy days. And this creates a surplus of food. And gives a chance for populations to grow and diversify their specialties. If you think about it, before the advent of urbanization, basically life just consisted of staying fed, staying warm, staying safe. That's it. That's all you're really going to do with your life. And make some babies. Now with towns popping up, not everybody has to put all their work into farming. Not everybody has to work into food on the table, other people can do other things, like learn how to work with metals, learn how to do other shit, like fighting. Yeah, they got real good at that. Each small settlement, they're all independent of one another and competing with one another. As they grow, they're going to become more competitive, more warlike with one another. So, as I guess technically, these guys that I have been playing with, they're along the lines of minor civ. They're a minor state. And these Sumerian city-states here, they're probably going to be the real players. Eridu, Eridudans, Eriduans, Eridudas. Don't know what the adjective would be, but it's like they're fighting for their survival already. Bring it. That sounded gross. I hate it when people do that on their microphones. I'm still avoiding it, but hear all the nasty little gurgling throat noises. I know how to talk. I'll point that one up a bit. So, what I'm going to do is whoever I'm switching as, I'm going to give them the best chance possible. When I'm playing a civ, I'm going to do the best I can for them, with no biases. And we have here Uruk. Uruk is one of the more prominent of ancient Sumerian city-states. And the Uruk period, which I believe we are not in yet, is a time when Uruk gained hegemony over its Sumerian city-states. And so, that's what I'm hoping for. That's the direction I'm hoping to take the game in. But if I'm unable to do that, if I'm able to beat Uruk as Eridu or the Kishis, then history is going to take a different course. Oh. Oh. Okay. Nearly died right out of the gates. I wonder if they're making Sumerian beer at this point. Yeah, people are... In this region, people aren't hunting, scrounging for bushes of food. Ugh. I mean, yeah, I'm sure you're free, but I mean, like, you got no... I mean, like, you're basically just an animal. Well, maybe that sounds... I don't know. I like the idea of being able to work on art. You got some time on your hands to specialize in a craft. we go. Starting to colonize North Africa. Yeah, we got people that don't need to work with food so much. They can work on bricklaying, metallurgy, mining, trade, beer, bread and beer. I'm interested in Sumerian beer. You know, last year I actually made some of my own. I made Sumerian beer. I followed a classic recipe. A guy on some YouTube channel shows it's a good one. Maybe I'll post a link on it. I made my Sumerian beer, and I'm pretty sure I followed the directions pretty good. And I have to say that I didn't like it one bit. It was gross. It was gross. It was sour, and I was always worried that it might make me sick. Oh, but anyway, that was my little foray into beer making. Now, I'm sure with all these multiple little communities, I'm sure there was trade. Probably was if I read up more on Wikipedia. Trade networks, and people are starting to produce goods and trade goods with services, goods and services. We got an economy going. Civilization. Okay, well, we got some war going on. Probably gonna wrap this up in a few minutes. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's good for now. Great. Well, as you can see, this has the potential of a very long-running series, and it looks promising. I'm going to get through it as much as I can, as life allows. And if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. Hit subscribe. I'm the Foo Man. I'm gonna lead us on down a simulated world. Don't know where it's going to end up. Don't know where it's going to go. I'm gonna play my little desired paths for whatever civilizations I control. But you know, if it doesn't go the way I like, I'm gonna go with it. We're all gonna go with it. We can talk about what life would be like. What it'd be like if things work out differently. Yeah, well, having said that, I'm gonna cut her off here, and hopefully we'll see you at the next episode. Goodbye and take care. Where the fuck is that record button?